Hello guys and welcome to the brand new Ford Fiesta. It's a little bit more grown up, it's more refined. It's been the best selling car for 8 years, so can the new model continue that? Let's find out. The new Fiesta range starts with a style model which is priced at £12,715 and it goes all the way through to the more luxurious Vignale model which is priced from £19,345. There will of course be an ST model, but sadly we will have to wait until next year for that. Now this is the titanium model, and you'll also notice I have a passenger. This is Ben Hodges from Live to Drive. Check out his YouTube channel and his website as well. So the titanium, I suppose it would have been, used to be the top of the range model, but that's now been replaced by the Vignale model.
Yes, that's correct, yeah.
So yeah, this is priced from just under £17,000, but this one does have a few optional extras, so it's pushing 19,000 now, isn't it?
18,950 all in.
Yeah, so let me talk you through some of the optional extras first. I know it's a bit of a backwards way of doing it. So what we got optional, Ben? So we've got the B&O Play system.
Yep.
Which sounds pretty good. We'll get onto that in a bit.
We've got the Deep Impact Blue paint, which obviously you love.
I really like it.
495 quid.
I think it's worth it.
B&O Play, which includes 10 speakers and 360 degree sound. Yep. Only £300. 675 watts. Now interestingly, the sound system costs less than the optional 17-inch wheels which are fitted onto this model. Normally you would get 16-inch wheels, which I would recommend. I don't know about you, Ben, because the 17-inch wheels, you can't really hear it too much now, but the road noise is quite high, so this road is relatively smooth, but on poorer surfaces the tyre noise is quite loud. Yeah, so I've driven the one on the 16s earlier today, and it was a little bit quieter and it rode a little bit better than the 17s that were currently on.
Yeah.
The 17s are shod in Michelins as well, which is the tyre that the car was developed with.
Yeah, Pilot Sport 4s no less.
Yeah, so it's a case of whether you want big wheels or not, basically.
Yeah, and the car handles pretty well. Body roll's not too bad. Let's drop it down a gear. Steering's got a nice weight to it, and the steering wheel itself is trimmed in leather. It feels really nice and premium actually.
Yeah,
it's nice and soft.
It's much nicer in here than the previous generation. They've definitely given it a complete makeover. All this screen, all this dash and everything else has been redone. It all feels very nice indeed. Yeah, so let's go back to the features. So you get front and rear electric windows as you would expect, halogen headlights, LED rear tail lights. You've got a night signature, which sounds a bit fancy. You've got the 8-inch touchscreen, so it's obviously got your mod cons such as smartphone connectivity, Bluetooth, DAB radio. I believe this model would normally come with sat-nav, but this is one of the pre-build models, so it doesn't have it. But the titanium model, I've been told by Ford, does normally come with a sat-nav. Yeah, it will come with the Sync 3 navigation. Exactly. Apple CarPlay. Yeah, and I have to say it's a good system. It is a good system. I think the design of it is a little bit bland. It's kind of blues and silvers, but it is a good system nonetheless. You've got climate control. You've got rear-facing camera and parking sensors. Mind you, are the parking sensors optional? It's also I don't think they are.
It's got the park assist as well, which
has the
parks the car for you.
Park assistance pack 1.
And how much is that?
That's 500 quid. So that's front and rear parking sensors, advanced auto parking assistance, and a rear view camera.
Ah, so
500 notes. That's
all optional. Now that is interesting. I would expect this car to come standard with a rear-facing camera. So the fact that that's optional. Yeah. Okay. Now this car is fitted with 1 litre Ecoboost petrol unit, which has won Engine of the Year for about 6 years running, something like that. Yeah. And it is a very good engine. It's nice and smooth, it's refined, it's quite nippy as well. So we're looking at 100 PS, which in brake horsepower terms is about 98, 99, and it has 170 Newton meters of torque. It will hit 62 miles per hour in 10.5 seconds and a top speed of 113. I had to think about that one then. And it is a good little motor. Now you can buy the Fiesta with either a 1.5 diesel or a naturally aspirated 1.1 litre petrol as well, but I don't know about you, I would definitely have the Ecoboost engine. It is a cracking little engine.
I think it's the pick of the bunch. Even over the diesel, I don't see why you pick the diesel ahead of this motor, to be honest. No. And it comes in at 97 CO2s, so yeah, road fund licence is also very cheap.
Yeah, and MPG I believe is 65.7. So if you're looking for a frugal motor, this is definitely up your street. Now it's mated to a 6-speed manual gearbox.
First generation 6-speed gearbox in normal Fiesta, by the way.
Is it?
Yeah, there's only been the ST before.
I did not know that. The throws feel sturdy, they feel short, they feel snappy. It really is a good gearbox. Now you can get an automatic as well, but personally I would much rather have a manual. But I have to say, guys, to drive, it is a delight. Now the Fiesta is well known for its dynamic handling and the way how it just drives really well. And the new model is absolutely no different. It really is a real delight to drive through these country roads. It's a little bit more grown up, so it's not quite as well, it feels smoother. I think that's the best way of putting it. It feels smoother. The engine has been tuned to offer a more smooth, refined performance, and I have to say, it's impressive.
The engine seems a lot more refined than the previous generation. That was a bit of a coarse engine, almost quite you know, quite barky. But this is just a lot more smooth, a lot more refined. Perhaps a lot more. I'm thinking a lot more easy to live with.
Yes.
On a daily basis. So.
And the ride is pretty good as well. So as mentioned, this is riding on the slightly larger wheels, but I wouldn't call the ride lumpy, would you? No,
it's very slightly. It just kind of hits some of the bumps sometimes, and it doesn't react as well as the 16s. Possibly something to do with the tyres as well. You know, you've got slightly bigger tyres on it as well, but it's all down to personal preference.
Yeah, so I've not driven for 16 alloys, I've only driven for 17-inch, but even so, it's nice and comfortable. And that's not to say that it sacrifices handling, because guys, this is still a really good car to plant through the corners. It really is. The steering's got a lovely weight to it. The pedal's got a nice weight to it as well. The brake pedal is it's got quite a nice firmness to it. And I have to say, the Fiesta is still a fun car to drive. It may have grown up a little bit, so the car itself is a little bit bigger, it's a little bit longer. I believe it's also a little bit wider as well. But it may have grown up a little bit, but it certainly hasn't lost its fun. Now it's a little bit quiet down here, so let's give it a little bit of a hoon. Listen to this engine. Not too bad, is it? I think it sounds pretty good.
Yeah, proper 3-pot.
You know what, I don't mind a 3-pot. Yes, it's a smaller engine, but I think sometimes they can sound pretty sweet. Yeah. So I've got no complaints with that whatsoever.
It makes that kind of little burbling noise.
Yeah.
It's half a V6, basically. It's just kind of burbles away, you know? Because it is half a V6.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of like, you know, it kind of reminds me of like an angry puppy. Yeah. Like a puppy trying to growl. It's not quite the same thing, but it still sounds pretty good.
Yeah. I think it has character.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's one of those little motors where you go, it tries really, really, really hard, but it has absolute character. And, you know, I think it kind of makes the car a lot more engaging.
It's definitely dynamic to drive.
But it's got quite a smooth turbo delivery. There's perhaps a few hints of turbo lag here and there. Yeah. But it's kind of very, you know, as you change gear, you come back on the power, and it just slight millisecond, and then bang.
You're off. Exactly.
So yeah, it's just, I think they've done a good job.
Yeah. And the inside is a nice place to be. So like I mentioned, you've got this very nice steering wheel. You've also got the soft touch dashboard. Now, one thing I'm a little bit disappointed by is the lack of legroom in the rear. So we're both quite tall chaps. I'm 6'2", you're 6'4".
Yeah.
So if I were to have a driver's seat altered for myself, yes, I know it's biased because obviously you've got a tall passenger sitting behind a tall driver. But if I have a driver's seat altered for myself, the rear legroom is really disappointing in my opinion. Headroom is good, I will say the headroom is good, but I was expecting more legroom, especially when you consider this car is bigger.
Yeah, although I don't think they've increased the length that much more. I think it's just more, it is what it is, it's a Fiesta.
Yeah.
So.
But on the plus side, the boot space is pretty good.
Yeah, I think you could easily fit a family of 4 stuff in there for a weekend away, or reasonable period away.
Yeah, but let's face it, this is for kind of people that are going to be buying this car, families. Yeah. And it's definitely well suited for family life.
Yeah. I think overall, it's just a good all-rounder. It kind of does many things very well.
It does. Guys, this really is a solid car, and it's no wonder it's been the best-selling car in this country for 8 years. That's only 2 years of a decade. I had to use all my mathematical genius for that.
Did they shift 1 million of them on the last generation? Like million units?
Yes. And I think how many have been sold since 1976? There's some crazy number.
4.5 million, I believe it is.
4.5 million.
Yeah.
That is a lot of cars. That is a lot of metal to be shifting through a production line. So it's no secret that Ford has done very, very well with the Fiesta. And guys, I have to say the new model definitely looks to continue that, because from where I'm sitting, it's another winner.
It's a hit.
Yeah. It really is brilliant. Now, I've not tested the 1.1 litre or the 1.5 diesel, so I can't give you any comparison in regards to those engines, but this 1 litre Ecoboost, I'm sure many of you are already aware, it is a fantastic little engine.
I think in this chassis, the motor shines more than it does in the larger chassis like the Focus or the Mondeo, which I know they've sold very few Mondeo 1 litres, but
yeah,
in this chassis particularly, I think they were kind of, it's the right choice, right chassis for the right engine as far as I'm concerned.
Definitely.
Just go really well together, and the driving dynamics as well suit the engine, and the fact that you can get such great economy out of a petrol motor rather than having to stretch to a diesel, you know, it simply beggars the question, why would you buy the diesel in the case of the Fiesta? You should just buy the petrol.
Exactly, and let's be honest, diesel isn't the most fashionable thing at the moment, is it? Let's be honest.
No.
So for me, 1 litre Ecoboost, please.
Yep, same here.
So earlier in the video I mentioned this has the B&O play system, which is making its premiere on the Fiesta, so it'd be rude not to play a bit of music. Now obviously I can't play anything because obviously YouTube will have a moan at me, so let's play this, shall we? Let's see what it sounds like. So, volume up.
Ryan Little.
Crank it up a little higher, shall we? Yeah, that sounds pretty good if you ask me. So there we have it, guys, a brand new Ford Fiesta, and I have to say it is a very well-rounded hatchback. It does lots of things well. Yes, the rear legroom could be a little bit better, but for shorter passengers it won't be an issue. But other than that, I have to say Ford has done it again. It has produced another cracking little hatchback. I can see no reason why it can't continue the trend of being the nation's best-selling car. So Ford, thumbs up. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. If you did, give it a thumbs up and please subscribe for more car obsession.